All right, so hi everyone, it's Papa Hector here, and today's topic is what do you do if your godparent dies? And also about stealing your initiation. And this was sent to me by one of my subscribers, someone who watched one of our other videos. I'm sorry you sent it a few months back. I'm extremely busy, and I try to do these videos all in sets and kind of come out with a lot all in one go. So this is what I want to get back to you on. Number one is that no one can steal your initiation. Don't feed into the nonsense. If you were really initiated, if you have a real initiation, no one can steal it from you. Why? Because that's a contract and a deal between you and the spirits. It's an agreement and it's a process that you've undergo that can't be undone. It can only be undone ritually or ceremonially by you because you're breaking the contract. So that's number one. However, one can come and block the power that comes through. One can twist and knot things up. One can create blockades between your power and your sight and your abilities, so on and so forth. So that is very possible and does happen. Number two is the other question was, what do you do if your godparent dies? Okay, so this happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me. And it's something that can be upsetting. It's very difficult to move forward from that. But let's say you need to move forward. First off, is that you should ultimately, okay, look for another godparent that you can trust. Number one. Number two is, if possible, that godparent should be within the same tradition that you're already initiated in. Unless you have a true calling and a gift to a different tradition that maybe you haven't explored yet, it should be in what you're already involved in. Now, if you do have a calling and all of that to something else that you haven't gone through yet, etc., very simply, it's probably a chance for you to go ahead and start to discover that connection. And it might be a place for you to kind of start a different level of connection or a different type of connection. So I would also explore looking in that direction. Either way, one way or another, it's very likely you will need to replace your godparent in whatever tradition you're already in. But you should go ultimately to someone that you trust. And you need to go to someone that you can trust a lot. And even if it takes, like, let's say, going to someone that you can trust outside of your tradition to guide you in the direction of where you need to be guided. So that's number one. Number two is, if possible, within the tradition that you're in, because that's where you have commitments. That's where you have need help, and that's where you need the teachings. Number three is, expect that in many houses, you're going to have to undergo some additional rituals or ceremonies to tie you into the house, to the godparent, to the temple. And you may have to re-undergo an initiation. Certain traditions, certain initiations should not have to be redone all over again, whereas in other traditions, it's very common that when you go and move into a new temple, initiations are done all over again. Okay? I usually don't suggest I don't suggest hopping from place to place to place. But in this case and scenario, ultimately you need to be guided by your spirits. So go back to your spirits, go back to your basic practices, do what you got to do to get guided to a new godparent to be able to help you continue to progress. So once you do that, then you might need to undergo new ceremonies, etc. And then from there, it's continuing along with your new godparent. A last point that I want to make is that if your godparent did pass away, there are certain obligations in most traditions that you have to that godparent as a part of initiation that might be as far as helping them through their transition, helping through certain ceremonies, rituals that need to be done for them, so on and so forth. If there's someone that remains that it took charge of all that and took charge of the house, you should probably connect with them and find out what needs to be done. A lot of times in this period of time, it's time for you to kind of do certain rituals that need to be wrapped up. And there's, in a lot of traditions, it's up to the godchildren to do that. So if you haven't already checked with whoever that may be, and usually there is someone who's left in succession. If your godparent died suddenly or something happened, and they're not around, then and there's no one in succession, then I really would just say that you would want to make an offering, and an offering to your spirits, but also to the main spirits of your godparent, and look for guidance from them. So I hope that answers your question, and until next time, God bless.